The topic of lost media is all the rage these days. But while everyone and their brother searches for well-known pieces like Saki Sonobashi, Slamfest 99, and old episodes of Doctor Who, there are hundreds, if not thousands of pieces that no one is looking for. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back, you beautiful members and patrons, to a special Ramble edition of Lesser Known Lost Media, Volume 47. So guys, I'm trying something new here. I've been making actual scripts to read from for the Lesser Known Lost Media videos, and I really don't know if people prefer the old style where I just ramble, or if they like the new scripted style. So I'm going to try and have the member-exclusive video be the Ramble version, where I have no script and I kind of just wing it. It's the one I'm going to record first. Then I'm going to record another version with the script, which will be the normal Saturday version. So anybody who is in any paid tier of my Patreon or channel member will be able to listen to this video. And now, that includes you. Normally now I'd explain how this show works, but since you're clearly a member or a patron, you already know how this works. Let's just get into it. At number 1, we have Banjo-Kazooie, partially found concept art from unproduced animated TV adaptation of the game series, circa 2007. So Banjo-Kazooie is a series of platformer video games created by Rareware for Nintendo and later Microsoft. The titular characters have become cult icons of video games, having appeared in several games, including 5 games of their own released between 1998 and 2008 for the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and Xbox 360, with guest appearances in Diddy Kong Racing, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Close to the release of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in 2008, a planned animated series was in the works, but was scrapped and wasn't even heard of until 2015, when Emilio Lopez uploaded concept art on his Twitter. Production started sometime around 2007, with Emilio Lopez, Adrian Barrios, and Keith Conroy being known to have been involved in the series as they did concept art for the show. Now, according to Lopez, the show was planned for release in 2008 as a tie-in with Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and while the concept art was 2D, the show would possibly have been CGI. The style for the series was to be very experimental and have a different look from the games, with Conroy's designs apparently being the finalized designs for the series. The project would never come to be, with Lopez saying the whole project was falling apart due to revisions before it was completely shelved. Had it been made, it would most likely have aired on 4Kids Saturday morning block alongside fellow Rare-based cartoon Viva Pinata. Now, what do we have available from this show? Well, concept art, including that of Banjo-Kazooie and Mumbo Jumbo by Emilio Lopez, Adrian Barrios, and Keith Conroy, were discovered via Lopez's Twitter in 2015, but no animation was ever believed to have been made due to many revisions the proposed show had that led to its demise. It's possible a Banjo-Kazooie animated series could still be produced, but it's unlikely anything from the scrap project would resurface in a possible future Banjo-Kazooie show. I never really played Banjo-Kazooie as I had a PlayStation, not an N64, but I know it was immensely popular. Most of my friends played it, loved it. And so, I think this probably would have been a pretty... it could have gone either way. I look back, I remember really liking the Donkey Kong show, which was another Rare property, but I try to watch it today and it's absolutely terrible. But hey, things are a product of their time, so I do believe that probably, despite Nuts and Bolts not doing well, I think a Banjo-Kazooie show could have made it. At number 2, we have The Spanish Maze, the lost script for a tragic play from 1605. The Spanish Maze was a theatrical play that was performed at the court of King James I in the winter of 1604 to 1605, having been a part of 11 plays that were performed in the same time frame. The Spanish Maze is surrounded in mystery as no author was credited for the play. The script for the play has never resurfaced since. Many scholars have attempted to make the connection that the play was an early version of William Shakespeare's The Tempest. As England moved into the 17th century, the revival of and translation of classic literature caused plays to become more elaborate and incorporate things such as dance and music. And this prompted King James I to have high-end plays only be performed in private. And another element added to these performances was called mask. Most plays that were based on masque were usually reserved for performances in the king's court, but playwrights such as Ben Jonson and William Shakespeare did write masque-like plays for the public. By the 1640s, political tension had caused civil war in England to break out, and as a result, all theatre productions would be closed. Now, in the winter of 1604 to 1605, William Shakespeare's acting company, the King's Men, along with Queen Elizabeth's Men and Admiral's Men acting companies, performed 11 plays in the court of King James I. 10 plays were chosen to be performed. 2 were to be written by Ben Jonson, 7 were written by William Shakespeare, and the final play that was selected was The Spanish Maze. One account claims that an unnamed play was performed by the acting company Admiral's Men on December 30th, 1604. Another account by the courts claimed that a second performance of an unnamed play was performed on January 3rd of 1605. It is unknown if any of these 2 unnamed plays that were performed were The Spanish Maze. One of the better accounts points to the play being performed on February 11th of 1605, which had massive anti-Spanish undertones. It's unknown what happened to the scripts used for the 3 unnamed performances, and to this day, the script for The Spanish Maze has yet to resurface. Since it's unknown who wrote The Spanish Maze, many scholars have attempted to figure out who wrote it and what it was about. The most popular theory is that William Shakespeare wrote it as a rough draft for his play The Tempest. Others point to the performance of The Spanish Maze actually being a performance of The Tempest. These 2 theories are backed up by the fact the majority of plays that were being performed happened to be written by William Shakespeare, and that Shakespeare's acting company performed the majority of the plays in the court of King James I. Another theory that is not as popular is that it was a play co-written by Shakespeare and playwright Ben Jonson. There is not much to back up the co-author theory, and it is not generally accepted. So the reason that I had this one in here, guys, is that I love the idea of a lost play, even though this one lacks the sinister undertones of like The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers, or even The Hanged King's Tragedy from the SCP Foundation, which of course is based on The King in Yellow, or even La Fin Absolute du Monde, which is from John Carpenter's film Cigarette Burns, which I believe is again based heavily on The King in Yellow. Something about the idea of a lost play, even though there are no sinister undertones, it's still a little creepy, and I really like that. At number 3, we have Jammin' with Mario and Mario's Driving Range, lost promotional McDonald's browser games from 2006. So, Jammin' with Mario and Mario's Driving Range are 2 Flash browser games used to promote the Mario toy line in McDonald's Happy Meals in 2006. From September 1st to September 26, 2006, McDonald's and Nintendo made a toy line to get kids active called Take the Mario Challenge. Kids were able to get Donkey Kong, Yoshi, and Mario-themed toys in their Happy Meal. They mostly range from a Donkey Kong-themed flying disc, a Yoshi-themed pop and catch, and a Mario-themed ball. What made it more interesting, though, was from the official site. In the site, kids could play 2 Mario-themed browser games called Jammin' with Mario and Mario's Driving Range. Jammin' with Mario was about learning the Mario theme by typing keys on the keyboard, while Mario's Driving Range is really unknown, mostly being believed to be a golf game or a driving game. No footage or photos of the game exists online, though an archived website during the Mario promotion was found. Unfortunately, the page is non-functional as most links do not work at all. Now guys, the image you see on screen of the Mario ball, I remember we had that. Like, my sister got that in a Happy Meal and we used to toss it around to each other. I had no idea there was a website associated with that. So yeah, the fact that there was and it's lost, honestly pretty cool. I love it when there's like a personal memory for me tied in with the lost media. I mean, I'm sure you all feel the same way when you have like, hey, I remember that. Oh my God, there's more to it. Like, again, that's why this one gets to be on the list. I just think it's kind of cool. All right, guys, for number 4, with a title you might think deserves a place in number 5, but trust me, it is in number 4. It's Bimbos in Time, a lost Todd Sheets movie from 1993. So Bimbos in Time is the 3rd film in the Todd Sheets Bimbo trilogy. The plot? When Salacious Thatch starts up an old nuclear reactor, it opens a time portal, sucking our favorite buxom beauties into another dimension and spiraling them through time. Along the way, they meet King Arthur, Sherlock Holmes, Jack the Ripper, Matt Dillon, a whole gang of gunfighters, and even Elvis. Forget about Bill and Ted. These bimbos know how to have an excellent adventure. So, for 4 decades, prolific B-movie filmmaker Todd Sheets has released over a string of shot-on-video movies, most of which are commercially available, but incredibly rare to find, and for some end up completely lost in time. Despite being more known for working under the horror genre, Sheets released his post-apocalyptic action comedies, Bimbos BC and Prehistoric Bimbos in Armageddon City in the early 1990s, about a trio of bimbos that end up in the distant future where they go up against zombies, cyborgs, and all various monsters of any genre. Both of these movies were released on VHS, although physical copies that can be found are diamonds in the rough. Mill Creek eventually released both movies on DVD, found in their 50 horror movie collections. Little did they know, however, that there was ever a third sequel in the Bimbos trilogy, where the titular characters travel through time and hijinks ensue. The third movie of the series was advertised in the comic book of the same name, published by the independently owned Draculina. However, the movie seems to be currently lost, as there is not a single trace of its existence in any physical form. There is still a listing for the movie on Amazon, but it's listed as currently unavailable. Further information on the movie is so scarce that it may not have been released at all, or presumably never existed. As much as it's not politically correct in this day and age, there's something that's just utterly charming about movies that were clearly just made to, have scantily clad, buxom women in whatever scene, action or horror, whatever. Like, the whole point of the film was, hey, we're gonna make a movie. We don't want to make a porno movie, but we're gonna just make a movie, and it's just gonna happen to have, women that you might expect to see on the porno set. And while there will be a plot and nothing overly gratuitous, you're probably gonna see their tits at some point. Definitely a product of their time, but still fun nonetheless. So the idea that they, did this and then it never got released, it's like, well, okay, I mean, you clearly had a plot, you had a comic to tie into it, but, why did you never make the movie? I think that even if this one didn't have a commercial release, it still exists somewhere, and I think that it is only a matter of time till it's found. And that in all likelihood, this movie sucks in the best way possible. So now's the time where normally in between the 4th and the 5th, guys, I'd normally do my ad break, but you're all members and patrons, so you already know what I'm about. So in this segment, we're going to do a bonus, a piece of found media of a piece from a previous video that has been found. So you may remember me talking about the song Everyone Knows That, aka Ulterior Motives, which was the name given to a 17-second snippet of an unidentified song from the 1980s or 90s, that it was uploaded to the website, song identification website, What's That Song, in 2021 by Spanish user Carl92. So Carl stated that he speculated it was left over from a video audio clip when he was learning how to capture audio, but, Carl was being a little, Carl92 was being a little sneaky, because we have discovered the actual, source of the video, or the song, I mean. Well, the video that the song is in. A lead was found on Reddit by user OneTruth that it could have been composed by Christopher St. Booth. Now, Christopher Booth created music for pornographic films, and then user South Pole Ball discovered the video Angels of Passion from 1986, and at the 1 hour, 7 minute, and 31 second mark during a hardcore sex scene, the song starts to play. Carl92 just used a snippet where you couldn't hear the moaning. But yeah, this one has officially been found in a place that people really didn't expect. So, if you, but I can say that, if you're a fan of Lost Media and Bush, then you know what? This is the find for you. If you look in the comments section, I will include a link to the Reddit thread that has all the links you need to enjoy this song in whatever way you want to. Alright guys, as spicy as that piece of lost media, now found media was, it's time for our spicy media. At number 5, we have Ian Brady's Briefcases, Lost Personal Documents of Moore's Murderer, 1963 to 2017. This is labeled not safe for life due to its discussion of murders, so if that's not your bag, you can always click on over to the Reddit thing and enjoy yourself some nice, everyone knows that action. You've been warned. Between 1963 and 1965, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley committed some of the most notorious crimes in British history. Dubbed the Moors Murders, the couple were convicted in 1966 of murdering 5 children, burying 4 of the victims in Saddleworth Moor. Brady would ultimately become Britain's longest-serving prisoner until his death on May 15, 2017. Since then, multiple attempts have been made to retrieve Brady's briefcases containing his personal documents, with speculation that the documents may reveal the location of Keith Bennett's body. So what's this all about? Well, both Ian Brady and Myra Hindley had troubled past to them becoming a couple. Brady had a history of committing petty crimes since his teenage years and was also accused of animal abuse, something he continually denied. By the early 1960s, he had become obsessed with the Nazis and the atrocities they committed. Meanwhile, Hindley was born into a physically abusive and neglectful family. Her father expected her to be as tough as him, and this resulted in her using violence to resolve issues from a young age. She ended up working for the same company that Brady did, and she became obsessed with him, ultimately becoming a couple by 1962. Brady would then indoctrinate Hindley regarding Nazism to the extent that she changed her appearance to look more Aryan and thus to please Brady. It was on July 12, 1963 that they committed their first murder. She offered a 16-year-old girl named Pauline Reed a lift in a borrowed van before requesting her assistance in retrieving a lost glove somewhere in Saddleworth Moor. After arriving at their destination, Hindley told Reed that Brady, who had arrived on the moors via motorcycle, that he would help with the search and instructed her to follow him into the moors. There, Brady would rape Reed before nearly decapitating her through 2 slices into her throat and then burying her body in the moor. Later that same year, on November 23rd, the couple offered a 12-year-old John Kilbride a lift home in a Ford Anglia, with the promise of providing him a bottle of sherry. Then they requested his assistance in retrieving a lost glove on the moor. I don't really understand this, guys. Why, you lost your glove on the moor and you want a stranger to help you find it? Brady would then S.A. Kilbride before strangling him with a piece of string, and then he too his body was buried in the moor. On the June 16th of 1964, they found 12-year-old Keith Bennett and asked for help loading some boxes into her van with Brady in the back. She again drove to the moor with Brady and Bennett venturing in to retrieve a lost glove. By the time Brady returned, he was carrying a spade. He had essayed Bennett before strangling him with a piece of string and burying his body somewhere in the moor. On Boxing Day the same year, the pair encountered 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey, who was seemingly alone at a fun fair in Ancoats. They requested her help in taking some shopping to the car, and then to their home at Wardlebrook Avenue. Upon arriving at the house, they proceeded to undress, bound, and gag her, and take obscene photos of, and ultimately S.A. and murder her. She was also buried on the moor. Additionally, they took audio recordings of them torturing and murdering her, and that was found in suitcases Brady had left at Manchester Central Railway on October 16, 1965, along with the obscene photos. A 16-minute recording was played back to a horrified open court. The evidence will never be released by the British court system, as possession of these materials would violate the Serious Crimes Act of 2015. However, a transcript is publicly available. I'll be honest, guys, this one's hard to read. Their final murder would occur on October 6th of 1965, and when they invited 17-year-old Edward Evans back to their home. During this time period, Brady requested Hindley to have her brother-in-law, David Smith, witness the murder, the motive of which was to indoctrinate him into their crimes. After getting Evans relaxed with wine, Brady proceeded to hit Evans 14 times with a hatchet, before strangling him in front of Hindley and Smith. The body was then left in the spare room, with plans for the body to again be buried on the moor. This crime would set about the downfall of the couple. Smith had returned home, horrified at the murder he had witnessed. The following morning, he contacted the police, and Hyde Police Station detailed what he had witnessed to officers. Upon discovering Evans' body, the police arrested Brady on October 11th. Hindley, too, would be arrested. Police then searched Saddleworth Moor, discovering Downey's body on October 16th and Kilbride's on October 21st. On May 6th, Brady was convicted of the murders of Kilbride, Downey, and Evans, with Hindley found guilty of murdering the latter two. They would receive 3 and 2 consecutive life terms, respectively. The couple were not charged with the murders of Reed and Bennett, although the police strongly suspected that they were involved in their disappearances. However, later confessions from both would generate new interest in discovering the bodies of Reed and Bennett, as well as other potential victims. On June 30th, 1987, a long-term search of the morgue resulted in the success of finding Reed's body not far from the location of Downey's. Despite repeated searches throughout the years, Bennett's body has never been recovered. Hindley would die age 60 on November 15, 2002. Brady would be diagnosed as a psychopath in 1985 and was sent to Ashworth Hospital. He repeatedly requested to die, even going on a hunger strike starting from 1999. Although he was kept alive via being force-fed, he died on May 15, 2017 of restrictive pulmonary disease, having been England's longest-serving prisoner. Okay, so now that we got through all that, what the hell does this have to do with some briefcases, right? Well, upon Brady's death, interest regarding the contents of 2 locked briefcases owned by the Moore's murderer began to emerge. Aside from helping to document Brady's life, as well as resolve other mysteries surrounding the Moore's murders, the main motivation surrounding the briefcases is that they may contain documents that detail the location of Bennett's body. Likely knowing the intrigue surrounding the briefcases upon his death, Brady requested that the cases be kept stored away by his lawyer, Robin Macon. In 2017, Greater Manchester Police requested a court order to search the contents of the briefcases. This request was denied because there was no potential investigation that could lead to prosecution. Additionally, Keith Bennett's brother Alan wrote to Macon in a plea for him to release the documents, with the belief that said documents may contain clues to the whereabouts of Keith's body. Despite further pleas coming from Allen and the police, Macon is said to have refused all requests and declined to comment on the matter. So, will we ever get these briefcases? Well, despite the setbacks, renewed hope has emerged that the briefcase contents may see the light of day. A proposed bill known as the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill was unveiled in Parliament on March 9th of 2021, with plans revealed by Home Secretary Priti Patel a month prior. Among the various legislation changes include the ability for police to obtain information regarding the location of human remains where the suspect is deceased. This proposed change will therefore enable Greater Manchester Police the power to gain access to the briefcases on the grounds it could allow for the location of Bennett's body to be revealed. On April 30th, this bill is currently at the committee stage where further amendments can be proposed, with a report to be made to the Parliament by June 24th. Until then, the briefcases will likely remain in the hands of Brady's lawyer, with neither police nor the general public being granted access to its contents. And this one just, this one kind of irks me because it's clear this dude, just look at that face. That guy is a fucking monster. We've talked about Hindley before on this due to an art piece made to kind of look like her mugshot. While she looks like an unpleasant lassie, so to speak, just look at the deadness in Brady's eyes. There's no sympathy, no empathy, not a speck of humanity behind them, to the point where he literally, knowing he was going to die, said to his lawyer, hey, keep anybody from seeing these. What a piece of shit. Right? And the lawyer is, I don't blame him for just abiding by his client's wishes, the whole legal thing. But while it might, save his professional reputation, it really sucks in his reputation as a human being. Goddamn. But, hopefully that bill passes, and hopefully for the lawyer's soul and conscience, he's able to pass those along willingly to the police. And hopefully the family of Keith Bennett can get some closure. And that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for becoming a paid member of the channel so that you could listen to the unscripted version of Volume 47. Please do go watch on YouTube the scripted version that'll be coming out this Saturday. Let me know which one you like better. And until next time, guys, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that all your lost media somehow becomes found in a pornographic film that you truly enjoy, and that you alpha great day, and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.